Oh, I love that intro. It's great, isn't it? I'm Keith Owen.
I'm Michelle Marshall.
And you are walking, you are watching Hair Talk Live.
Thank you for joining us this week with our gin-infused opening.
I've not been drinking at all, Michelle. I can't believe you even said that about my gin drinking infused opening there. Yeah, I mean, thanks again for joining us. You've got an hour with us tonight, and we want you to get the most out of your experience with us. And it's an opportunity to ask some questions of our fabulous guest and of ourselves. And we'd ask you just to pop your comments over in the comments chat bar thing, I believe is over that way. And if you're on replay, it's a great opportunity for you to still get involved and ask those questions as well. So as we go through, we're going to be maybe popping in a few questions that you can reply to as we go along as well, because it's one of these things. We want to, even though you're not watching us live, we still want to get you involved. So questions in the chat bar, and please put as many as you want. And we've got a fab guest on in a bit that Michelle's going to introduce to you in a second. And it's going to be a great opportunity to pick her brains in regards to certain things that she's done in her fabulous career.
Oh, that was a little sneaky, wasn't it? A little sneaky.
You know, I was skirting around it.
Oh, you did. But for those of you know that myself and our guest and Keith are the greatest of pals. We've, we're so honoured to have her joining us. We're like the three musketeers of the hairdressing and travelling industry. Lots of lady lotions, as Keith likes to say.
Loads of lady. You must explain the lady lotions, though, before we get to Kelly, though, because nobody will know what those things are.
So for those lady lotions that Keith always says about, is that for whenever myself and Kelly are traveling, we always have a little bit of Clinique, a little bit of atomizer, some hand moisturizer, or something to keep you hydrated. And Keith will always sit next to us when we're on the plane, and he'll join in with the lady lotions.
I love lady lotions.
You know, I certainly remember the one time that we got off the plane, we went into New York, we went to Macy's, and Keith got as many of those lady lotions as he could possibly get.
I've still got them. I love the lady lotions. They're fantastic.
And plus his wife had a very generous present to go home with.
Yeah, she did. She did all right out of that, must admit. But thanks to you guys anyway, so that's great. Thank you.
But, you know, we are really honoured and humbled and thrilled to have this person joining us. All, without further ado, all the way from Dubai, an amazing hairdresser, amazing artist, and now a country education leader, all the way from Dubai, to the UK. Please let us introduce you to Miss Kelly Scott.
You need to like walk in.
Ta-da! Oh, wait a moment. I'm just gonna.
Oh, that's it. Oh, like I feel like I put the arm around you, Kelly. Michelle, you could put your arm around Kelly the other side, so we could both. That's it. We could both give her a little virtual hug there. Look at that. Look at that. For those of you that are on a podcast, by the way, we're putting our arms around Kelly virtually. So if you're listening on a podcast, that's what we're doing at the moment. So you have to imagine somebody sitting next to two people on a 3-screen screen. Hopefully.
I like that I'm in the middle.
Of course.
I like that I'm in the middle.
A rose between two thorns. That's what it is.
Should be you in the middle then, Keith. Should be you in the middle.
Oh God, no! Not with you two beauties. I'm definitely not. I'll be miles out of the way. Put me further off the screen.
The thing is, Keith, you're not sporting an infamous shag.
Well, yeah, that is quite a shag, isn't it? You've got going on there.
I've got a little shag going on. I got shagged in the salon the other week.
Oh, shagged in the salon. Who was that? Who did that? Who is it? Who did you in the salon then? Sorry, did your haircut in the salon?
You know what? I found this really lovely guy out here in Dubai. He's at one of our Redken salons. He's at a salon called Chalk, and his name is Sasha. He's all the way from Sweden, and he is an absolute gem.
Oh, I think we should give him a shout out. The shout out's going to be, oi, oi, Savaloy!
Oi, oi, Savaloy!
Oi, Savaloy! Oh, good on him. That's great that you found a good hairdresser out there. That's definitely a fantastic thing. And I like the fact you all said Savaloy as well. So that's really good. Now, Kelly, you've been out. Well, you've gone to Dubai, and I think one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure you're on tonight is that obviously we know a little bit about your background and what it is you've done and where it is you've been in the hairdressing world. Obviously, not in
you spent enough time with me, so you guys know where you've been most of those places with me.
Yeah, I have. You've got witnesses, so watch what you're saying. But we wanted to ask you some questions about, how almost like work in reverse. So talk about how you got to where you are now in regards to, physically, how do you get from the UK to working abroad to a country that's, well, I don't really know a lot about. I've had the opportunity to visit there once, but I don't know a lot about. And, thinking about that, was that, how did you find, one, getting, the mechanics of getting from here to there, and two, going from something that was it a culture that you knew or knew anything about? And, how did you find it when you got there?
I mean, that's a great question, because I didn't know anything about Dubai either. But what was absolutely great was, the way that everything kind of happened. So I mean, you guys know my story as an artist, which I'm sure, many people do. Loved Redken, been passionate about Redken for a long, long time. And obviously as an international artist, was traveling, doing shows, seminars, obviously partnered with you guys as well on many of them, and was having a great time. And it was, when you start kind of thinking, what's your next challenge? Like, what's your next goal? Where do you want to go next? What's going to happen? And I'm a firm believer in the universe always provides. And it was out of the blue, a random conversation I had with Sherry Doss. And she said, there's an opportunity to grow Redken she didn't say where it was at first. She said, there's an opportunity to grow Redken. It's a small brand, and we need someone that can head up education, grow brand love, and obviously set up some systems for the growth of education and the growth of the brand. Would it be something that you're interested in? Would you ever consider relocating? And I thought about it, had a chat obviously with my partner about it, and was like, why not? Like, why not? You've got, like, these opportunities come, and you've got to be like crazy not to take them, right? So yeah, it was when she said it was Dubai, I sort of had to confess that I'd only ever passed through Dubai in an airport. I'd never actually visited. So I really needed to kind of come and check this place out before it was something that I would consider. And she put me in touch with the general manager here and the brand director, and we had some great conversations.
Who is Sherry Doss? For those that don't know, because we know who Sherry Doss is, but for those guys that are listening in, who is the Sherry Doss?
I was going to say, who is the queen?
Who is
What, you don't know her?
Just for the people listening out there, so who is Sherry Doss in relation to Redken and yeah.
Awesome. So, I joke when I say the queen, but she basically is. Sherry has been such an incredible leader of this brand for such a long time that anybody that is a Redken artist, anybody that's been involved with the brand, will be aware of who she is. She's an absolutely dynamic woman. She's a true leader. She is absolutely amazing, and she obviously works over at the Heads Up, should I say, the DMI in the US, and the DMI, Sarah. We're talking about Sherry right now. She heads up the DMI, and she's like the vice president of education. So she kind of we have like the DMI structure, and then the country structure, and then obviously we then have the regional structure as well. So so it was Sherry that kind of put me in.
It's only because that makes it, if you're getting somebody that's yay high, we are not worthy about that, and she's asking you to help out and do something. I think, listening and letting people know that is, it's really impactful that you've had somebody ask you to go and do that, especially in a new place as well for you and for Redken.
Definitely, no, it was amazing. I mean, I've been fortunate to to, you know, have Sherry, as we all have it in our lives, you know, pushing us, kind of like coaching us, driving us forward to be better artists. And it was an opportunity that she offered me, so I obviously gave it some serious consideration. She put me in touch with the general manager of the Middle East and the brand director, and we did lots of Skype chats. Like, they questioned me to see if I was obviously right for the position. I had lots of questions for them, because it's huge, right? You're moving from the UK to the Middle East. It's an investment that they're obviously, you know, they're investing in somebody coming. They want it to be the right person. And also, I kind of wanted to come here and ensure that I could bring what they needed, because it was going to be a completely different challenge for me. You know, obviously educating, being on stage and doing things like that for Redken every now and again, but to run stuff and build education and grow education on a country level is something that was completely new to me. So we had lots of conversations, lots of chats, and then I flew to Dubai and I spent 10 days out here, obviously meeting the team, meeting all of the L'Oreal people at L'Oreal Middle East, which are an awesome group of people, I have to say. They've made me feel so welcome and supported me in more ways than just work. You know, they helped me find somewhere to live.
Is that because they're watching now, Kelly? Is that because they're watching now, you're saying that?
I hope some of them are. Definitely. No, I do. I hope some of them are. But they like set me up with areas to look at, you know, like what it is what it takes to live here. So I met lots of people, and then I kind of went home, and on the plane on the way home, I was like, I want to do this. And initially it was like, okay, let's come out, let's do this for 2 years. Let's see how Redken does. Let's see how you do. You know, it's not like you're signing your life away for 10 years. And, you know, I just thought, you know, why not? Like, it's 2 years. Like, at the end of the day, if it works, great. And if we continue and we build something, that's going to be amazing. And if it doesn't work, then it's an opportunity had, and you can never say what if, right? Like, I just didn't want to do that. So, you know, fortunately, it kind of like all worked out. They wanted me for the position, because then I was like, oh, I'm excited. I want to do this now. Please want me. And yeah, exactly. And they did. And then, you know, things kind of snowballed super quickly. Like, once they sort of said yes, we had, like, you know, the contract was done. Then I had to sell my house in the UK. Obviously, I had to leave Strands, which has been like my life for such a long time, and the team there, which, you know, has changed a lot. But obviously, Pauline and Wendy, who I just, I don't even know if I can talk about them without actually getting a little bit choked. So yeah,
they best be on here listening as well, otherwise, you know, there'll be trouble.
So that was huge, you know, to kind of like move on from Strands as well, because it's been part of my life for such a long time. Like, it obviously nurtured me into being a hairdresser. It you know, Pauline supported me in all my opportunities that I had with Redken, pushed me as well, like, let me dream big. She never was like, this is not going to be for you. She was always like, you know,
how difficult is that, Kelly? Because I think that's, you know, I think when people move away, it always sounds really like romantic and oh yeah, I'm going to work abroad. But, you know, how difficult for you was that actual transition, that leaving the UK and what you know and love and what you've been around for that period of time, to go into a place that was unknown?
Definitely. I mean, it was hard. It was hard. And I initially moved out here for like a month and a half on my own before Harry joined me. So living like out of your bag in a hotel, trying to get to know what this job is, what's required of you, understanding the market here, meeting like the salons here, trying to look for a place to live. You know, thankfully it was busy times. But yeah, then, you know, in your heart, you're constantly like, oh my gosh, I've left so much behind, you know, like my family are there, my friends are there, what I know is there. But I again, like I say, you know, I'm a firm believer, like, the universe gives what your next journey. And all the time, I never felt like I was doing the wrong thing. I always felt like I was, you know, in the right place and doing the right thing. And this was going to be an amazing opportunity. And I just had to embrace it. But obviously, like, it's your whole world that you know, and the culture change and the weather. It's so hot here.
Are you
like,
craving for some seasons now? I mean, that's the thing. Now you're there. Are you going, oh, that grey, wet Wednesday evening, it actually feels like quite a good thing now?
Yeah, I'm desperate. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I'm desperate to like smell like freshly cut grass and like, like that the weather after rain and like sniff a tree or something. I feel like I really want to do that.
I so want to see you walking around sniffing trees. That'd be brilliant.
Like a big old oak or something like that. I just want to hug a tree. Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, Dubai is beautiful. It is beautiful, and there are parks here that they put a lot of effort into. But just the whole like atmosphere, like just the weather, it does make a country like different. And there's no place like home, let's say. So and again, like to kind of top it all off, it's been COVID that came. Like I moved here, and then COVID came, and it stopped me from going home, and that was just like a shock in itself as well, because I was expecting to come, get settled, go home for a visit, get my fill, like see friends, see family, come back again, do what I needed to do. When I felt a bit restless, go back home again. I was expecting to just keep popping home, and it didn't happen, which was again really, really difficult. And I think my way of dealing with it is just to kind of like get on, just focus what it is that I'm doing. Thankfully, it's busy. There's a lot to do here. Made some nice friends here as well that have been a great support. And it's just a case of like, get your head down and just keep running. Eventually we'll be off that red list. Eventually you won't have to quarantine. Eventually you won't have to have a million COVID tests to try and come home. It has to happen, and I'm desperate. The second I can get a flight home, I'm definitely going to be there so I can come see you guys and see everybody, because it's been a really long stint. It's been such a long time before the opportunity is to come home again.
Wow.
But like Dubai is awesome. It's for anyone that's been, I'm sure you've experienced it. It's an amazing place. It's super like diverse. It's so multicultural. There's like so many different nationalities here, loads of expats. Like people that are I don't know, they kind of make Dubai. It's really it's a cool place. It is a really cool place, and I am enjoying it here. I'm obviously trying to discover as much as I can here as well, but we've obviously had a few restrictions and a lockdown in place. So again, that was kind of difficult, because you arrive in a new place and you want to explore and experience, and then you're kind of like forced to kind of pull back a bit. So there's still so much that I haven't seen, still so much that I want to discover. But but work is great. It's going in the right direction. We're slowly growing the brand. We've got an awesome Redken team. It's a small team. Redken here is not like how we would know it, guys. It's a very small brand. Dubai is primarily L'Oreal, Kérastase, Matrix, and there's just now a few exclusive salons that obviously have Redken, and we're obviously looking to grow it more. That's like what my job is. That's what my job kind of is supposed to be now, is to obviously grow this brand love, set up education structures, and obviously grow the brand, sell through education, right? We all know that.
Exactly. But there's been a question coming, Kelly. And Sarah is asking, are there a lot of UK stylists over there?
You know what, there are a lot of UK stylists over here, and they're always looking for more. So Sarah, I don't know if you're interested in moving to Dubai, but there are always salons that are looking for British hairdressers, obviously, because guys, we have a reputation across the world that of our training standards, and obviously our influence and everything like that. So there's always people asking me if I know anybody that wants to move, anybody that would want to come for some time and work here. And the salons are beautiful here. They really are. There's so many different types of salons in so many different areas. But some of the salons are absolutely gorgeous, and some of the people that work in them are great.
Sorry, I'm just laughing. Have you seen Sarah's reply?
I see it just popped up as well. She's booking a ticket. Husband and child can stay here.
I'm booking a ticket. My husband and child are still here. Oh, okay.
Brilliant.
She's coming on her own. I love it.
I love that. Well, Kelly, will take in the right direction.
Definitely. I mean, Sarah, if it is something you want to do, you can bring your husband and your child. I'm sure. But yeah, if
She wants
anybody
to.
does, yeah, if anybody does want to kind of like, you know, do that, then yeah, definitely reach out, because people are always looking for hairdressers. They're always looking for a talent here. They're always looking for hairdressers.
And what about, you know, you started talking about a little bit about working for a brand, but what is it really like working in more of a corporate environment and for a like one brand? What has it been like?
I mean, for me, I've always loved Redken. Like, I've always been kind of like a champion of Redken. Like in my salon, you know, whenever Pauline even kind of wanted to look maybe at another brand, I used to have full-on panic attack, like full-on heart failure, because I just love what the brand stands for. I love the energy of the brand. I love the people that the brand attracts. I love, you know, the education at Redken. Obviously the color products at Redken, you know, I've obviously used other brands, but it's always been something that's been far superior. So I've always kind of championed Redken. Anyway, I do believe it's actually in my heart, and I don't feel like as an artist I could have stood up on all those stages and presented all of those shows without truly believing that what I was saying was true. You know, this product is good. It does make you a better stylist. The education does, you know, make you be better at what it is that you do. So I feel like I've always believed that. So the opportunity to obviously then do that on a larger scale was amazing, you know, to come here and, you know, inspire and educate others on a brand that I love, I saw was an amazing opportunity. And obviously, you know, to be a part of Redken in its infancy, so it's such a small brand. And, you know, when I first got here and I started talking to salons about it, and they were like, "What's Redken?" And I'd be like, "What?" Like
Did you go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they don't know that"?
Definitely. My current brand director, Chantel, she always keeps saying to me, "You're not Paula Kent. You do know that. It's okay." You're Kelly Scott. You're not Paula Kent. It's all right. They cannot like it or they cannot want it. Like, you don't have to take it so personally. But I'm like, oh.
Well, I think this question that's come in, I always say, "Cut me and I bleed" processing solution. I think that definitely goes for us.
I love it.
I love
100%,
it.
Sarah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Our blood is black for sure. So I think, yeah.
Oh, go on. Sorry, Kelly.
No, yeah. So I was just saying, you know, to be able to do it on a larger scale and come here and obviously, like, you know, show people what this brand has to offer, show people what it's about, and, you know, try and create some brand love here and brand recognition, I just thought was really exciting, because, you know, I spent so long recently before moving here. I was in a Redken world. You know, we would go to a Redken show and everyone knew what the product was about. Everyone knew how to play the game. Everyone was already bought into our network. Whereas now this is a great opportunity to be on the flip side of that, of trying to, you know, like, show people what we're about and try and bring, like, people into the fold, as it were. So it's nice to be on a different side of it.
And do you find that you travel a lot throughout the Emirates? Are you just based in Dubai, or does that see you traveling still?
Yeah, so obviously, so currently L'Oreal Middle East is in Dubai. That's where it's centralized, but obviously it kind of runs the whole of the GCC. We've obviously had travel restrictions and things like that, but, you know, right now Redken is primarily in the UAE. So that means all of the 7 Arab Emirates. Obviously, we're obviously hoping to grow and widen our stretch, and then move out to the rest of the GCC with, like, you know, hopefully like Bahrain, KSA, and growing the brand wider.
Wow.
Hopefully.
How many, just, you know, before we move on to the next question, how many would you like to share with everyone how many COVID tests you're up to now?
Oh my God, do you know what? I swear I've lost count. Every time I want to go to Abu Dhabi, I have to have a DPI or a PCR. So obviously, like, your DPI is like your little blood test, which is instant. But then if you have that done, you then have to have a PCR, which is the one up the nose. I keep changing nostrils because I swear I'm going to have, like, some permanent damage. So many COVID tests.
But it's quite interesting because they've been talking a lot in the UK about, you know, there's testing in schools in England and in Wales. So they're talking about a lot more testing going on to be able to travel even throughout the UK. So it's interesting. Is it easy? Do you know what I mean? Like, how does it work in with your schedule?
Yeah.
Like for us as hairdressers, how is that going to work in when we go back to, or when England certainly go back to salon, or when we get that opportunity? How does it work with your schedules? You know, I just see it as being so time consuming.
For sure. I mean, like, again, they've got a great setup here. You know, there's testing centers all over Dubai. They've got drive-through testing centers. You know, they're well set up for it. And at the border between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, again, there's like testing centers. So again, you can obviously drive down. You join the queue for the drive-through testing center to have your DPI done, because it shows you immediately, and then you can carry on through to the border. But obviously, if you're having your PCR, it needs to be done sort of like the day before, just to ensure you get your results back on time. But again, it just depends on like the systems in place, right? So, you know, we're very fortunate here that they've got great systems. There's like I say, testing centers everywhere, so you can just drive up, you can walk in centers to get it done. And then they text you your results literally within 12 or 24 hours, depending on how quickly you need it.
Wow. That was quite interesting. And is it, just out of interest, is there loads of PPE in place, or is it, you know, like when you're in the salon, is there like crazy, or?
Yeah. You know what, guys, obviously I arrived before COVID kind of happened. So I arrived like November, December 2019. And I was really surprised initially with the kind of the cleanliness standards and the hygiene standards in the salons in Dubai anyway. You know, everything is sterilized, like combs, clips, scissors. When you go in as a client, your stylist opens a packet of like sterilized scissors and combs and clips in front of you. So that was like something that I was really surprised at, the hygiene standards already. And then obviously when COVID came, we went on lockdown for a while, and then we opened up, you know, a small capacity, larger capacity, and now salons are at full capacity. But they have to have obviously screens in place, and the Dubai Municipality, who are the kind of like health and safety government, go round and spot check constantly salons to make sure that they're sticking to the standards and abiding by the rules. And everybody, you know, does here. You know, they want to keep their businesses open. They want to be obviously, you know, serving customers. They want to have their team employed. So everybody is obviously sticking to the necessary hygiene standards. And you know, some salons are fortunate because they've got like a lot of space, so therefore they can close sections off and still have all of their team in. Some smaller salons obviously have to like provide the barriers or the screens. But you know, so far, thankfully, businesses have remained open. Every now and again, like cases may spike a little, which kind of makes people a little bit reserved. But we're just coming up to Ramadan now, so everyone hopefully is going to be in the salons, getting themselves looking all good before obviously Ramadan starts. So I hope that's going to kind of, you know, like boost the industry a little bit here and give everybody an opportunity to kind of make up for time lost.
Wow.
It's
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to hear that. Yeah, you ever see? You've been talking for a fair old bit, and I think the next question would I'll talk for a second whilst you're wetting your whistle. I think one of the challenges from a hairdressing perspective in regards to possibly going from is that difference between, and we've got the little reminder up there of just, you know, being behind the chair and going from behind the chair to going to the corporate, because you know, I think from a stylist perspective, you're always looking at the corporate thing as this big entity that you sometimes visit if you're from an educational perspective, or you might visit it from a salon owner's perspective, or just somebody that works with a company that's whatever salon you're in actually runs with a particular brand. And it's, you know, that transition from going from behind the chair. I mean, what was it like for you as a stylist behind the chair, first of all, maybe is the first question, before, you know, then what's the difference, you know, what got you to go, I've done this, I really enjoy this, and I'll now want to go to there. So maybe if you could maybe just tell us a little bit about your life behind the chair. You know, what was it like for you, and, you know, what excited you about being behind the chair?
Yeah, I mean, I loved being a hairdresser, absolutely, and I still class myself as a hairdresser. I mean, it's something that I would never not call myself. Definitely not. It's something that I've worked hard
Just for
at.
those on the podcast, we're all gritting our teeth and doing a power grab, like
We're like,
yes,
yes.
Yeah.
just in case, because you won't obviously you won't see that on the podcast, but we're all going power grab. Sorry,
Perhaps we should have shouted it, shouldn't we? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's something that I'm proud of. If anyone asks me, what is it you do? I'm a hairdresser. That's the first thing that I do, and I hope I always get the opportunity to say that, because I always want to do hair. I always want to have a bit of hair in my life, even if it's just one client every now and again or doing something. I've got such a it fell on me like totally by mistake. I wasn't planning on being a hairdresser. I mean, if Pauline is listening out there, she'll know that I was, a 16-year-old girl that kind of like knocked on the door and wanted to work there because my best mate did, and I wasn't sure what it was that I wanted to do, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't believe how great this industry was. I couldn't believe how many opportunities there were out there, and we had a product knowledge class literally in my first week of hairdressing, and one of the Redken educators came in. I just thought it was so cool. I was like, I'm going to work for Redken. I'm going to be a Redken educator. And she's like, well, let's teach you how to cut hair first, shall we? Like, slow down. And I just thought it was great. Like, I just I want to walk around with a little bag of products and tell people what this is. And I loved it. And that was kind of one of my early goals, was to be a Redken educator. And then obviously as I learned my craft, and then enjoyed the artistry side of it. And I had an opportunity to join. I don't know if you remember these guys, Tony Wood and Michael Saunders.
Oh, the Badgers. Badger.
So I had an opportunity to work with these guys. They were, some great still are, absolutely, hand on heart, still probably are amazing hairdressers. I haven't seen these boys in men. Old geezers now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they're old now. They're proper old pension age.
I haven't seen them in such a long time, but they were great hairdressers, great craftsmen, amazing, and really helped me grow as an artist and really pushed me. And down the color route as well, especially because obviously they were super strong in design, that they obviously then needed somebody to kind of like back their stuff up with color, and that was kind of like then when I found my passion for hair color. And then again, like I say, they pushed me creatively, and we started working together on shows and seminars for Redken. And then Redken approached us and said, would it be something, would teaching this stuff be something that we would want to do? So the three of us worked together to start teaching classes, and then it just kind of grew from there, really. Kind of like focused, kind of trained, worked, went through, endless amounts of education ourselves to grow ourselves. And then the opportunity for a new hire program came up in the US. So they were sending a couple of UK artists over to the US to go through this intensive global mentorship program.
Mentorship or mentorship?
It was a global mentorship. Global mentorship program that that taught you the skills to be able to travel internationally, and obviously to be able to stand on bigger stages, and again, that was something that I really enjoyed doing. And then then found myself traveling for Redken, doing classes even alone or with groups of people, with great friends like yourself. And yeah, I loved it. I loved education. First off, I fell in love with hairdressing and loved being able to create and make people feel better about themselves. That's one of the things that I think, as a hairdresser, you are a people person. It's such a great power to have when someone comes in and you have the ability to transform their feeling, not just their look, but their feeling about themselves. And that's something that I think is special about all hair.
I mean, that's such an important thing. And those that are listening in, if that's something that you can sort of listening to Kelly talking there, you can think, that's me as well. I really love that bit in the comments bar. If you're listening now or listening in the future, just pop in there. I feel that too. Cool. Keep going, Kelly. It's great stuff. Keep going.
Yeah, it's empowering. I mean, it's kind of like everyone always says like, I feel like being a hairdresser is kind of a selfish thing because I like feeling good. I like making people look and feel good because that makes me feel good. So I think, I get to do a job where, I have the power to make others feel better, which in turn makes me feel better. There's nothing, when someone
we so needed to we needed some. I have the power. Let's say power.
Oh yeah, power. 1, 2, 3, power.
This is getting so Redken. I love it. Look, we're getting right.
Okay. 5 minutes in, and we're there.
Oh dear.
So like I say, that was initially something that absolutely I loved, and then what I found with education was it grew that feeling in me. So not only was it just a one-on-one thing with the person in my chair, I now could help other people be better at what it is that they do. So then having like a class of like 5, 10, 50, however many people, came to symposium, having an opportunity to speak to all of those and maybe show them something or give them just a little nugget of something that will then in turn make them do their job better. That was even better.
Kelly, for those that, obviously we're in our little Redken bubble. We know what symposium is. However, we sometimes get people that know nothing about hairdressing at all. So, and I think you need to tell them what symposium's about because it's quite a big thing. You're sort of saying it like it's just symposium. So just give everybody a little idea of what your experience of symposium, what symposium is.
Yeah, so symposium, unfortunately, it happened, well, not unfortunately, I think fortunately, it was awesome this year, actually. It was really, really good. So usually symposium is this amazing hairdressing event that Redken holds in Las Vegas. This year, it was actually held digitally. And I must say, it was actually, I'm super excited that it kind of happened that way because it meant that I could stay here in Dubai and see it rather than not be a part of it. So that was great. But symposium, like I say, it's the single largest manufacturer hairdressing education event extravaganza. Let's call it an education extravaganza. Because it is. If anyone has ever been, write a comment and tell us what you thought of symposium because it is amazing. It's like full immersion into the Redken world, into education, into networking, into being with other like-minded hairdressers, getting to socialize and network with, artists, people that are maybe further ahead in their careers, talking to people that are maybe a little bit behind you in their careers. It's just such an amazing event to go to as a stylist. What do you guys think of symposium? What is that right? Well, how would you explain?
I hate every minute of it. I think it's bloody awful.
We've all fought tooth and nail to be on that stage.
I think you've hit the nail on it. I mean, it's just a great opportunity, and I think the fact that you've got that many people in one place that are all going for the same reason, they want to learn more about their craft and what it is they do. It doesn't happen that often. So to get like-minded people in a huge space, all thinking, what can I learn? What can I get from this? And being able to be one of those people that's able to share that information with people it's great. It's great on so many levels. I mean, it's great because you go to Vegas first of all, and I think that might be the thing with you guys because you did it virtually. It was, you're doing it, but you're not doing it in Vegas. Vegas has got I was
on a green screen in my living room.
And I think that for me anyway, it's the experience of going somewhere, being with people, all these things that we're craving at the moment, we're craving just meeting people in our garden at the moment. So, how are we going to be when we can go to Vegas and meet people again? Got to be like, head explosion. So for me, that's it. Michelle, what about you? I mean, Kelly's asked us about our experiences of Vegas.
I think my very first experience, I can never forget that. I think it was 2003. And I got into the lift. First of all, there's all these people. First of all, you're in Vegas. You've never been there before. And you get into this lift and somebody says, oh, is that 09B? You're like, what, me? And then you start talking about Shazy Q and what colour formulas you've got in your hair. And you're like, am I in an altered universe? Where? It's just... and from working, that was going as a stylist, but also from working, it's just, I don't think I think unless you've experienced it, it's really hard to put it into words. Like you both said, how just awe-inspiring, whether you're working or whether you're presenting, whatever part of it you're doing, it's just, well, it's the best, isn't it? It's just the best ever. I can't, how else do you put it?
I don't think you can. It's the maddest 4 or 5 days of your life, but the most professionally gratifying, I suppose, is you work hard, you play hard, and you enjoy every moment of it. Even the 4 o'clock in the morning starts and the stupid o'clock debriefs at when you're all knackered, you want to go to bed. We need to debrief, and you want to do it, because if you don't do it, the end of the evening's not done. But yeah, it's great. So for those out there, I mean, Kelly's, she's been on many a stage, and she's done a fantastic job in each one. It's been, a privilege working alongside her and seeing her grow doing that, definitely.
Sarah's saying, before you go on, Keith, sorry, that Sarah's saying, and it's the drunkest she's been. And Sarah was buzzing, and CJ said it's so good.
Oh, hey, CJ.
Yes, CJ's dropping in.
Oh, I love it.
So that was Symposium. Obviously, it's amazing, and that was what I loved about education was, now not having that one-on-one transformation experience, say, like having other people having those experience with it, and that was what I loved about education, and that was what really inspired me to want to keep doing more education. And then when this opportunity came up to then do it at a country level, I was just like, well, that feeling behind the chair was awesome. That feeling on that small stage was all awesome. That feeling of empowering others on a bigger stage is awesome. Now to be able to kind of have this opportunity to provide education for hairdressers here, obviously to grow the brand here, to set up my artist network, which I'm doing currently here, to, give hairdressers in this region, the opportunities that we had as artists and the experiences we had as artists. I just thought, that's going to feel even better. So let's do it.
It's such a great story, Kelly. There's so many more things, I'm sure, that we've got to. We're just going to join to a quick interlude now.
For those on the podcast, that was a time to subscribe when you hear that. So if you hear that, boop, 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 boop.
Subscribe.
So yes, a subscribe button, and it gives Kelly a chance to drink. Bless her, because she at the start of this, should I get myself another drink? And she's hardly drunk anything because she's been talking. Bless her.
Me and Keith myself and Keith have drunk our way through a bottle of gin.
Yeah, we're hammered.
We've been working, Kelly.
I love a chat. I love a chat. I do.
I mean, but a lot of the questions that we've got for you, you've answered so eloquently and given us such an insight into from artist world to working in the country you're working and how you're developing, from being behind the chair. But what was your favorite thing? Like, what was your favorite thing about being a hairdresser? But really, we've talked a lot about that, but what, technique wise, what's your favorite thing? If you've got somebody in the chair, what's your go-to to share with everybody, technique wise for coloring?
So for me, I was always kind of I suppose, God, that's tricky. There's a few actually. I mean, I was always the highlight person, I would always balayage, obviously, but highlights and any kind of foil work or technique. And I would always try and find a way of, not stacking and packing and taking up too much time. I couldn't cope with that. I was an instant result kind of person. I wanted to get something in there, get it on, get it done. Anyone that's watching from Strand's Hairdressing will be like, she ran behind all the time.
Yeah, but imagine if you were stacking and packing.
God, they'd never leave. Bless my Thursday night crew. They would always be like, God, please don't say yes to whatever it is that they want. We want to go home. But I would, I think I inherited that from Pauline. Someone would come in for a retouch and she'd need highlights, so I'd give her highlights, and it didn't matter how long it took me, it was happening. So I think, always trying to find, kind of like the smarter way around of applying technique. Trying to give that, that certain, I don't know, difference, always trying to do something a little bit different. I tried not to be the same again sort of person. Even if my client wanted the same again, I'd always try and do something that was a little bit different, just to keep my interest, and also to grow my client as well. Because I think the thing is if you just keep giving them the same again, they lose inspiration, and who wants to look the same forever? So I think it's our responsibility to not just fall into that. Let's do the same.
That's
again.
what Botox is for.
Definitely. So trying to like always offer something a little bit different. And I think my favorite thing about hairdressing as well was like communicating. Like sitting down and really listening to what it was that the client wanted. Sometimes it'd be hilarious because you would just, once you let them talk long enough, they would realize themselves that what they were asking for was impossible, and you never really had to do anything. You just sit there and listen. They'd talk their way into it and talk their way out of it, and you'd be like, okay. But yeah, like having those conversations, having the opportunities, for someone to give themselves over to you, for you to make them look better, was always something that I love to do. And again, like creative formulas. I mean, Michelle, you and I have always kind of like loved that opportunity when we could create some great colors on some strong shapes. I mean, and that's why we love working with you so much, Keith, because you always used to give us such great shapes. And I will fondly remember our time when we went to the Nordics and we ate that show.
Was
for those of you that are listening in, I mean, that was if you've ever done a show before and you're thinking none of these models are going to want whatever we're going to ask them. Well, we ended up with, I don't know, I think it was 10 models. And it's like, can we shave this? We didn't do this one, but we basically said, can we shave this side, make the other side green and perm the back? And they all went, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And can we do that light? Yeah, you sure? Yeah.
Do you remember, we were literally like, are you translating this right? Can they understand us? Are you sure they're saying yes to what it is that we're asking them? And, I mean, I think what was great about that show is we like pushed it. We had 2 shows to do. Do you remember, guys? So we had day 1 and then day 2, and we really pushed it to the extreme on day 1. I mean, we had some great hair. And then do you remember we realized that we had to then change it up and make it even like stronger for then day 2.
How can we make it stronger? She's lime green. How can we make that stronger?
Yeah.
We picked really soon with that, didn't we? We were like, whoa, we should have just stepped back a little bit. But it was it was such a great show.
We were so excited that they just gave us like full like whatever, that we just went for it, didn't we? I mean, but I have to say, I look back at those pictures still and I'm like, we did some great work. Great work.
We really did too.
Yeah, so many times the Nordics want us back out of there again. If you're watching, just us three.
As soon as we can travel, the 3 of us will come. We will have our COVID passports, absolutely, and visas.
Definitely, no, yeah, I will. I'm going to jump back in and do that again.
You got another question up?
Yeah, quick question. I'll pop it up for you, Kelly. Quick question: what's your favourite Redken product?
Oh, see, now, Sarah, that's a tricky one. Like, are we talking colour products, styling products, or hair care product? I'll give you all 3. So colour products, obviously Shades EQ. It's my absolute gem. I feel it's the jewel in Redken's colour crown. Favorite styling product? You know what? Velvet gelatine. I miss it. We don't have it in this region.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm really going to try and push for. I want it launched here because I just think that is it's a styling product for everyone. Velvet gelatine.
It's not for selfish reasons. It's not just for you, is it?
Great for a shag, I love velvet.
If it's good for a shag, then it's good for anything. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's styling, and then hair care range. I've always been an extreme girl. Like, I wouldn't have hair on my head if it wasn't for extreme.
I definitely think extreme has salvaged a few do's.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lifesaver, isn't it? Definitely.
Sarah said yes. She totally agrees. Okay.
any colorists out there will know that they've rinsed some highlights, balayage or whatever, and thanked the Lord above for that small bottle of cat on those ends when everything's a bit like this.
And actually,
please.
that segues nicely into you. We're talking, you know, like before we wrap it up, you know, how important for the hairdressers out there listening or watching. You know, we talk about everything that we've talked about throughout this this episode, but how important is retail? Because a lot of hairdressers reach out to us and struggle so much with retail. But what's your advice to them?
I mean, I think it's necessary. It's just necessary. It's part of our job now, and I think, you know, we have to lose that stigma of like selling. You know, it's all about recommendation. It's all about educating your client into how to look after her hair. So, I mean, you know, she's coming in and she's paying for a service. She's paying for like color, design, finish, whatever it is she's paying for. She needs to know how to maintain that at home, and, you know, to be the best hairdresser you can be. It's ensuring that your client leaves and she can make herself look as good as you do the next day and the next day and the next day until she comes back to see you. And something I always used to say to my clients as well was, you know, this is what I'm using on your hair. So whether it be like leave-in treatment, prep, then obviously my foundation product, then my finish product, you know, I'm using 4 or 5 products on your hair to get you to look like this. How do you expect to go home and get you to look like this when you're not using any of them? And I think, you know, that used to be my like kind of like go-to thing. And another thing was as well is, you know, like it's an investment. You've spent hundreds of pounds on your color. You know, why are you going to go home and wash it with something that's going to just be terrible for it? It's like if you had a Gucci coat, you're not going to stick it in the washing machine. You're going to take it to the dry cleaners. You know, this is your Gucci coat that you've invested in. This is the product that you need that's going to look after it. So I think if you can just try and talk to your clients on what it is that they would understand. I mean, they're just my things that I used to say all the time. But, you know, I think it is important to let them know it's not just what happens in this chair. If you want to look this great and for it to last, you then have to keep up with your homework.
I think clothing's such a good way of describing it, because, you know, your hair is something you wear every day in, day out, and your Gucci coat might be something you pop on occasionally. Yet we'll look after that second to none. But our hair often is one of the things that gets left way down the line. And, you know, for those guys out there, I mean, you've asked Kelly about the type of products that she's liking at the moment, but for you guys out there, you know, it'd be good to know, if you're listening now, and again, if you're listening in the future, sort of later on, then, yeah, what products are you using? You know, it doesn't have to be a Redken one. It could be something else you're using in your salon. So it'd be interesting to find out what you're using as well.
Definitely. What's your favourite product, Keith?
Probably, I'm really liking the beard oil at the moment, because I haven't got a lot of hair, as you know. I think lockdowns made me get quite stressed. So I'm really thin, but I'm getting a bit thin here now.
We've gone a bit too far.
That was
Don't go so low.
Great tattoo, Keith. There is that a Savoy I can see.
Oh,
a Savoy, yeah, just a Savoy at the back there. But yeah, the beard oil I've been using on my beard. I've just shaved it today, but I've been rubbing a bit on my hair, because sometimes I get a little bit of dry. I get a few little dry bits in my hair or scalp, so I'll just put a bit on that. So that works really well. What do I like? Quick dry is probably one of my favourites. Been around for such a long time. And rough paste, I suppose, because for me, rough paste is, but it's like when it first came, it's like the messiah of Redken products, especially from a styling perspective. It's been around for such a long time. So I suppose for me, those sort of 3 products: beard oil, rough paste, and whatever the other one was, I can't remember.
But I think Kelly is probably using a little bit of rough paste on her bangs.
Yeah.
Well, that's a banging shag you've got going on there, Kelly. You've got the bangs at the front, which are they're slightly more in the practical rather than the sexy bit, which was a little bit longer.
You know what, Keith? I shared that with Sasha the other day. Actually, we spoke about your little tip on a sexy impractical fringe, or take it up a little bit shorter and have it practical. So I'm a little bit practical right now, but give it a bit, it will grow down and then become impractical.
Sasha Savoy. We're gonna have to call Sasha Savoy, I think. Sasha Savoy.
Absolutely. And Sarah said our biggest retail was the extreme length range. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally
It's such a good
amazing.
product.
Well, if you could get an extra 6 you could get with that? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use that somewhere else, possibly.
In 6 months or a year? Did you have to wait for
In
a
a,
year?
in a
Is that how
year.
long?
It's in a year
You'll
press.
have to keep practicing.
Yeah.
It's a year press, not 6 months. It's a year.
A year. Sorry to disappoint you, Keith.
What's your favourite product, Michelle?
Wow, my new favourite product has to be.
Come close.
Has to be close. Has to be the new acidic bonding concentrate. I am look at that shine.
Look at that shine. You know what?
I'm serious. Do you know what I mean? Like, seriously.
It's a beautiful nuance you got there.
It's a serious. I can see the nuances of your brunette, actually, Press.
You see the nuances. There's a little nuance of VG and P in there.
That was VG, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
No.
We haven't
something else.
We haven't launched acidic bonding concentrate yet. It's on its way. It's coming in June. So I'm desperate for that to launch here. So maybe we'll.
So you need 2 educators to come over and help you out with that, don't you? Like one on the cutting front and one on the cut.
We're so experienced, aren't we, Keith?
Maybe we should do something.
I don't know
with
what
you
acidic
guys on
bonder is, but I'm coming.
Sarah said, "What with that and a shag? We're on a winner."
Onto a winner, Sarah. Onto a winner.
Onto a winner.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's great.
I suppose we better look at what's coming next week, Keith.
Well, I think as we're talking about shags, we've been talking about shags periodically through it. I think we're possibly looking at how we're going to colour a shag. Because I think if I remember rightly, I'm going to post you the shag that I've done, so that you can colour it.
Your shag and do something with it.
Oh, exciting!
Take it for dinner.
Was that your recommendation? Dinner first.
Dinner first. Always dinner first. Always dinner first before you get bang deep in a shag. So I think that's probably a good time.
You want to make sure you do it on a full stomach.
We apologise, everybody who is listening and thinking what is going on. But if you know the three of us, you know we cannot resist.
So all that's left to say then really is, first of all, thank you, Kelly, for giving up your time tonight and spending it with us here. I know it's been good, isn't it? It's been really good.
Yeah. I'll come back again in 3 weeks.
You have to come back again. You have to come back again. You have to come back again.
Yeah, I want to come back in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really great to get an insight of that journey you've had in regards to, getting from behind the chair to go into a country that you've not known much about, bar a few visits, and how you've managed to grow yourself and get yourself to that position so you're able to do that as well. So, for those people out there that are wondering, is it possible to get from, me as a little hairdresser in a salon to somebody that's working for a global company and doing it? Kelly's proof that you can. So it's hard work, it's dedication, and a lot of determination and patience. Yeah. So just tune in whenever Kelly's back to us. She'll be definitely back to us again. It'll be a really good opportunity to ask more questions on that. Anything else you want to ask Michelle, before we wrap up?
Just really that, please go to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe, and join us next week for, is it 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock next week, Keith? I think it's going to be 9 o'clock because I'm back to work next week. So 6 o'clock for me, I'm still going to be cutting hair. So let's say it could be 9 o'clock, and we're going to be looking at how to colour a shag. It'll be like that for a couple of weeks, I think we said, Michelle, because of my commitments in salon. But we'll get back to 6 o'clock unless 9 o'clock works better for people. We'll see what happens on the day, but certainly it's been a fantastic opportunity to speak to you guys. And thank you again, Kelly. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for all the comments. It's been brilliant. Thank you, guys. And CJ just said, great show tonight. Brilliant insights. Great to hear from Kelly. Very inspiring. Sarah said, thank you for this and giving up your evening.
Oh, it's a pleasure, guys. Absolute pleasure.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been nice seeing you, and thanks for letting me be a guest. And please invite me back. I want to chat to you some more.
we will. We
It's really
will.
nice. I feel like I'm at home. It's nice.
We'll be chatting in the green room now. But take care, guys. Lovely to see you. Stay safe, and see you next week at 9.
Bye from
See ya.
Dubai.
Bye.
Bye.